We just have a few people online. I think we'll just go ahead and start though, because everyone's here. And we have an extra microphone, gentlemen? We have one there, one here. Do we have another one? Do we have 3 up and running? Oh, would you give that to Pastor Carla and Pastor Alicia, please? Then? Thank you.
You have people present with you, Sherry?
We do. Just a second here.
Okay.
Yes, we do. 26 in the room.
Okay. Good.
Thank you. All right. Let's begin this. I'm going to give this, turn the screen on. Why is it showing me? I'm Pastor Carla.
Still showing you. I think it's on your screen.
I know. Yeah, I don't know how to. Wait a minute.
There it is. Hi. Hi at home. Hi there. Can you see Pastor Alicia too? Can you see Pastor Alicia? And are we on, gentlemen? Is this on? Yep. Okay. All right. We're going to keep our masks on because we're following all protocol and all protocol for Pastor Alicia's other job as well. Okay. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. So as some of you know, I'm on the Synod Council, and yesterday morning there was a Synod Council meeting with an emphasis on stewardship and budgeting. We were reminded by a representative of our national church about God's provision, that there's always enough. Maybe not a lot more than enough, but always enough. At the Bible study yesterday, we were reminded again of the story of the manna in the wilderness, that God provided just enough for one day, not more. And we were reminded of the commandment in Proverbs 9, or the command in Proverbs 9 and elsewhere, that we are to bring our first fruits to the Lord and watch and see God provide the rest.
Buenos días. En la reunión del sínodo de ayer, como algunos de ustedes saben, la pastora Carla pertenece al concilio del sínodo, y en la reunión del sínodo de ayer en la junta se hizo énfasis a mayordomía y presupuesto. Y se recordó ahí, un representante de ahí recordó, un representante de toda la iglesia, recordó acerca de cómo Dios siempre, de las historias de cómo Dios siempre provee. Todo el tiempo provee, tal vez no más de lo que necesitamos, pero siempre suficiente. Se nos recordó de la historia de maná allá en el desierto, solamente suficiente para el día, no más. Y se nos recordó acerca del mandamiento de Proverbios 9 y en otras partes de traer los primeros frutos al Señor y mirar entonces cómo Dios provee el resto.
Our own bishop shared his story about how he finally learned to give God the first fruits, and lo and behold, all the rest of his own needs were met. For years now, I know I've been listening to our bishop and also my former colleague and made sure that that is my own priority. My tithe, 10% comes out first, and the rest is there for me and my family to enjoy, as well as having the opportunity to be generous. Because we remember that being generous is fun. Watching God provide is fun, even if sometimes it's a little bit nerve-wracking. We keep our eyes on God, and we always put God first.
Nuestro propio obispo compartió la historia de cómo él finalmente aprendió a dar a Dios el primer fruto y entonces todas sus necesidades fueron cubiertas. También he escuchado a nuestro obispo, y que antes era mi colega, y he establecido mi prioridad. Mi diezmo del 10% es lo primero, y el resto es para mí, para mi familia, para disfrutarlo, así como las oportunidades para ser generoso. Porque la generosidad es divertida, y mirar cómo Dios provee es divertido, aún si nos da un poco de nervios, pero fijar nuestros ojos en Dios y poner primero Dios.
There's a long history of this at St. Mark's. We know that people have stepped up and we are grateful. We know that we are partnering with God. And we are doing this with as much integrity and willingness as we have, and our willingness to follow Jesus. We give the first fruits not only financially, but also of our efforts.
Hay historia larga acerca de esto aquí en St. Mark's. Sabemos que la gente se ha puesto de pie cuando se ha necesitado y han sido generosos. Estamos en sociedad con Dios y estamos haciendo esto con mucha integridad y con muchas ganas de hacerlo para seguir a Cristo tal como sea posible dentro de nuestras necesidades. Estamos dando los primeros frutos de nuestros esfuerzos.
This budget this year sets a course to go where we believe God is calling us to go. We are called to be a light in this community, a place of help and welcome. We are moving forward, trusting that God will provide. If you notice, there's only one thing in the budget that looks like it has a little excess, and that is the property reserve. Some would say this is only a prudent reserve, as we know we have an aging building, and we anticipate the funds in this account will be needed. That account is also an opportunity for us to look to the future as we prepare this campus to be open to meet the needs of this community. We do this in the name of Christ, who has called us to this ministry in this time, in this place, with these assets. May we be good stewards.
El presupuesto que vamos a presentar hoy está enfocado en lo que Dios nos ha llamado a hacer, para hacer la luz en esta comunidad, en este lugar donde podemos ayudar y darle la bienvenida a todos quienes vengan aquí. Estamos moviéndonos hacia un futuro con la confianza de que Dios proveerá. Y si tú notas en el presupuesto que hay algún exceso, solamente es para la reserva para la propiedad. Algunos dirían que esto es prudente, tener esta reserva, porque sabemos que nuestros edificios son viejos y anticipamos que estos fondos en esta cuenta se van a necesitar. Esta cuenta es una oportunidad para mirar en el futuro y mientras que preparamos la propiedad de aquí de la iglesia para estar abierta para las necesidades de la comunidad. Hacemos esto en el nombre de Cristo, que nos ha llamado al ministerio en este tiempo, en este lugar, con todo lo que poseemos aquí. Que Dios nos haga buenos proveedores. Let us pray. Señor Dios, dear God, we thank you. We thank you for everything you have given us. We thank you for this beautiful church. We thank you for this campus. We thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve others, which is our mission. We thank you for all these faithful people who have been here, some for 60, 65 years, and maybe planning even more. We thank you that you provide. You have provided even in the times when we thought there was no hope, but you are there and you're here and you have plans for St. Mark's and you'll help us go through many, many more years of serving and bringing the word of God to this community and to the world. Amen.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, very good. Thank you. Good. You can just lay it down there on the table. Thank you. Bring that back to you. All right, welcome. And we have an agenda for today. Let me find my document here. Where did I put it? Oh, I think I have it up. Let me open already. Okay. All right, we will introduce the budget committee, then we'll do the budget detail and open then questions and answers. And we'll close with a prayer this morning. So let's begin with the budget introductions. Let me stop share. All right, Diane Flint Wages is sitting next to me, and she is our current treasurer, has been for, 6 or 7 years.
I think about 4 years.
About 4 years, all right. And we also have in the room the other members of the budget committee, Laura Ortiz, hello Laura, and Tom Larson. Tom is sitting right up here, and Diane Nissen is on the screen. So is that all?
That's it.
All right, good. So let me just show you. There's Diane. Hello, Diane. All right. So we'll move back now to Diane Nissen and Diane Wages. So Diane, would you like to, let's see, what does yours say? Okay, let me do that. Give you audio.
Recording in progress.
All right.
Okay.
And I'm going to turn off my volume.
Excuse me, Sherry, you have to turn back on Diane. The speaker's iPad. That just got muted. No, not yet. Nope, still can't hear you.
I'll trade images with her.
There you go, that's better.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Are we good?
For some reason, we got an echo. I don't know why we have an echo. I have mine on and Diane's off.
If the sound comes through the other one.
Can you turn off the speakers on one of them?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. All right, leave the. Yeah. Just a second. Sorry, guys. I've got the iPad muted. All right, just a second. We'll do it the other way.
All right, it's not the muting, it's the speaker. We still can't hear Diane. One of them has to be unmuted, but turn off the speakers on one. Still can't hear Diane. They're both muted.
No.
Okay, now how is it?
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect. It's amazing.
I thought that's what I did to
technical
start
people
with.
solve the problem.
Right, good.
That's wonderful.
That was my problem with changing it. Sorry, I did change the setting. It was working. Go.
Go. And again, I want to thank our amazing budget committee for all the work they put into this. Just such great people to work with, and I really appreciate them. Also, a thanks to Christina Torres, who's sitting here in front, who has been our bookkeeper for the last 2 years and keeps us on the straight and narrow, make sure we're doing everything properly. So thank you, all of you. And thanks to you folks for being here today. Appreciate that. Despite the challenges of this pandemic year, we finished 2021 in a strong financial position, for which we're very, very grateful, and grateful to all of the members who gave so generously to St. Mark's this last year and help us to be able to fulfill the needs of the church financially. So you are very much appreciated, and we thank you very much. I'm going to begin by going over the balance sheet, because that tells you what our financial foundation is, and what kind of backup we have in the event of emergencies. So the balance sheet as of December 31, 2021 shows total cash and cash equivalents of $502,000. This includes the endowment fund money. For the first time, we are including the endowment fund on our balance sheet, and this is as a result of consultation with the Pacifica Synod office, who explained to us that because the endowment fund is an asset of St. Mark's Lutheran Church and operates under the same tax ID number, that it needs to be shown on our balance sheet. Going forward, beginning in January, the activity of the endowment fund will also be shown. But I want to make it clear that it is shown on our balance sheet as a restricted account. And those monies can only be used as per the founding documents of the endowment fund. And also, I want to be clear that it continues to be the legacy committee who is managing the endowment fund, who is making the determination of where gifts are given. And it is also the legacy committee who are the authorized signers to the bank accounts and the investment account of the endowment fund, not the church treasurer, not the church council officers, but the legacy committee. So those restricted assets in the legacy committee show on the balance sheet of $156,000. In addition to within the church itself, the council a few years ago set up reserve accounts so that we would have monies in reserve for specific needs. The first one is the facilities account. There's currently $105,800 in that account. That is primarily proceeds from the sale of the tower lease. And the money is held for emergencies, but it's also held for future expansion of programs that the church and council may decide that you want to partake in. We also have set aside $25,000 for pastoral insurance. And this is, we are very fortunate at St. Mark's that Pastor Carla health insurance benefit for herself and her family is obtained through her husband's work. So we save a lot of money by her participating in his group plan, as opposed to if we purchase the insurance through Portico, it has become very, very expensive. So we set aside $25,000 in the event that there should be some interruption at some time in her husband's health insurance benefit. So, and that was agreed upon at the time that she was called to our church. So the money remains there. We have not had to use it. We're very grateful that her husband is able to provide that benefit. Further on the balance sheet, going down to liabilities, I want you to note that there's no loan. The PPP loan of $25,000 was forgiven in 2021. So you will see that $25,000 on the income statement as income, but it was not cash in 2021. The cash from that loan was received in 2020 and was spent on salaries in 2020 as per the provisions of the PPP loan. So we show it as income because it was forgiven. And that's the proper accounting treatment for that. But it wasn't cash in 2021. We spent that the year before. And again, grateful for that benefit. We also show on the balance sheet activity funds, which include Thursday Quilters, Evangelism, Coffee, Welka. And then we have designated funds, monies that have been given to the church designated for a specific purpose and can only be used for that purpose. So you can see the balances in those designated funds. And then again, the endowment fund is shown as a restricted fund. So that tells you what the basis is for our financial foundation. Every month, the council receives a report that recaps these cash balances. So when you look at the total cash and cash equivalents of $502,000, you take out the restricted and designated monies of $243,900, and you take out the facility reserve and of $105,000 and the insurance reserve of $25,000. The actual available cash to us, if we should have some emergency, is $127,000. So that's our cushion. That's what I call our savings account. So given that, given that information, now I want to go forward with the proposed budget.
Oh, okay. I have to pull it up just a second. I have to get out of here.
The proposed budget has a column that shows the actual results for 2021. So we can look at that along with comparatives. We have the year ending 2020, the year ending 2021, the 2021 budget, and finally in the fourth column, the 2022 proposed budget.
All right.
You're on page 27.
Page 27, thank you. Yes.
You want the proposed budget? Okay. I was trying to find the other one you're working at. There you go.
So let's just look at the year ending 12/31/21, which is the second column over. We ended the year with total member giving of $279,000 against a budget of $251,000. So we exceeded the budget by about 14% in member giving. facility use fees were just slightly under budget, and that's because we were unable to allow people to use our buildings due to COVID. But you can see that our church partners, Lutheran Social Services, RMDUN, Glory Lutheran, all met their commitments to us through the year, which again, it's reason to be grateful. I mean, there were times that they weren't using our building.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, couldn't use the building, but they continued to support us with the rents that they have agreed to. So that resulted in total income of almost $317,000 against a budget of $292,000. Now let's look at the income for the 2022 proposed budget. And you know, when we were doing this, when we were working on this, and we came up with this member giving number of $309,500, it's like, oh, wow, I mean, is this realistic? Can we really do this? And Tom was the one who pointed out, because he counts the money every week, and that based on what we've done in 2021, he thought that that was going to be completely realistic. And so it is totally realistic in that the budget calls for the budget for last year was an increase of 14% from the previous year. And now this budget calls for an increase of 11% in member giving. So we're actually, as a percentage, we're lowering the increase. But we're still anticipating all the good things that happened in 2021 to continue our growth in 2022. New programs, expanded programs, in-person church services, new members joining us. It has just, we have been on a momentum that has been very exciting and very beneficial to the ongoing viability of St. Mark's Lutheran Church. The rest of the income budget, we budgeted the facility use by our partners, Lutheran, as I mentioned, Lutheran Social Services, RMDUN, Glory, and we budgeted them the same as in 2021. However, since this budget was finalized, Pastor Carla has met with all those people, and they have agreed to a 10% increase in what they pay to us. And we have already seen that happening in January. R&M increased their rent contribution by 10%. And in addition to that, Project Hand has agreed to pay a nominal fee beginning their next fiscal year in July. They previously have not paid anything, but our SDG&E bill has gone way up, and other expenses we have had.
Employee expense, increased employee expenses.
Yes. And actually, we've had pest control issues because food is involved that we have paid for. So they have agreed to a nominal fee. And Pastor, do you want to add?
Ground has what, 10% increase in agreed to, and that should be coming from LSS sending that monthly check. I have it agreed to in their administration office. I need to clarify with the board, and I don't know if Christina knows.
Maybe Tom knows. Do you know what Glory paid in January? Not off the top of your head.
I did notice some of the checks. So
Tom said he did notice that some of the checks that he received from the rentals were different than normal numbers.
my eye because we had talked about this and we were not anticipating when we made the budget any increase in those fees.
Right.
So it did catch my eye that there were some different numbers coming in. So I wasn't sure quite what was happening.
Yep.
Mhm.
We'll keep you informed on that.
I know for sure,
I just-
R&M.
definitely paid into
Mhm.
Yes. So we will exceed our budget in that category, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let me see, I made some notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. Okay, let's go on to expenses. And salaries and benefits, of course, are a major expense for us and every church. The clergy and some of the staff salaries reflect a COLA increase, cost of living adjustment increase of 5.9%, which is the same increase that was given by the federal government to Social Security recipients and others. The basis for the COLA increases were you needed to have been employed more than 6 months. And if you received some other kind of pay increase, then that would have also covered the COLA. Pastor Carla is being compensated for 3/4 time. Pastor Alicia's hours increased by 4 hours a week. The music director position changed from independent contractor to employee because
The nature of his work.
the nature of his work no longer qualifies as an independent contractor. The state of California has changed their rules on that. Hours were increased for children's ministry, for a nursery attendant, and for video and sound techs. So again, it's more activities within the church require more staff and more hours by staff. So it's an investment in our future so that we can have people available to provide the services that are needed for our church and for our community, and we can continue to grow. Next is on the next page, 28, under administration. The biggest change, that the amount that was budgeted for insurance was based on the 2020 year end, and 2021 year end shows a much reduced expense for insurance, but some of that might have been timing. I think it may have been timing. So we've budgeted $12,000, which may be too much, but we want to make sure that we have enough in the budget for insurance. And again, you know, these numbers in a budget are estimates of what we think is going to happen. It may not happen that way. Buildings and grounds is always a challenge for us. Building maintenance, we went far beyond our budget for that as a result of numerous costs that we had related to the aging of the property. And so we exceeded the budget. Our actual expenses were $40,000 for 2021. Budget was $33,000. This year we budgeted $38,200. And we're expecting that should be realistic, especially given the fact that we're going to replace all of the sewer pipes now in this year. And I'll say more about that after we've gone over the rest of these numbers. I don't think there's anything significant to talk about in the next categories. Worship results for 2021 were way over budget, more than double the budget. This was because we were trying to get set up for the online services, and there were sound issues, and there were
And outdoors.
outdoors.
Yeah, the outdoors was very big expense.
Yeah. So we're all set now. That's a non-recurring expense.
Yes.
Youth, we spoke with Pastor Carla about that budget, whether it needed to be higher or not, but she has done an amazing job of getting grants for youth projects. And so these grants have funded much of what we're doing with youth. And please.
Please pick up a mic. Pastor Carla, there's one here on the left here, on your right.
I just want to, just really quick, it's strategic, and I want you to know, but I also think it's important to discuss this now. Can you hear me okay? Or am I'm not on the screen, but you all can hear me at home, Bob and Diane and everyone. Okay, great. No, you can't hear me?
No,
Deb, okay.
Yeah.
Now you can? Nope, Deb says you can't hear. Okay. All right, what should I do? Should I come back over here? I
yeah,
think
probably
it's
so.
important.
Yeah, just be
Definitely
careful.
hearing
Just be
more.
careful of the cords here. You can go around the back. Yeah, why don't you go to the back?
She can get a little closer to Diane's screen where Diane is talking.
I've got my mask on, Diane. Is that okay?
You've got a microphone right beside you there, right there.
Right there. Okay, great.
Okay, turn on this one instead. Yeah, you're good.
Can you hear me now, Deb? Okay, I want to speak to that very briefly. So it is a very low budget, and it is not, it won't cover what we need, but it's strategic.
No,
Because
turn the volume off first.
anticipate
volume
that
off
Easter
first.
breakfast will be, God willing, we were able to have social gatherings, right? They will be doing Easter breakfast. We will be asking for generosity, but we want the kids and the families to invest in the program, and then they receive back out of it. Confirmation camp, we have a lot of kids in confirmation, is like $450 per kid, and we need to make sure they all go. Okay, so that's important. VBS, we're doing very homegrown, but we're going to get a lot of volunteers and a lot of donations from all of you. Every time we do that, our own interest in it increases. We are invested, and we will draw more people in. So it's strategically low so that those who are benefiting from it will have that opportunity to give. I'm careful about that though, as we are reaching in this budget overall and then asking more in addition for youth programs. But my experience in this congregation is you want to invest in the kids. So when those opportunities come, you will step up. I'm guessing that's true. And I would love feedback if I'm hitting any sore nerve on any of those things, but that is why the budget is so low. When we're really, that's our cutting edge. We know we want to really grow our children's youth program. So please speak to me about that. I'll be looking for feedback always.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you.
Put it here.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I hate feedback. No, microphone feedback, not other feedback.
Okay, Senate benevolence, we increased that budget by $5,000. We gave to the Senate $24,000 in 2021. And in next year, this year, we're anticipating $29,000, which is 10% of our envelope income. So we've got total expenses, and then for 2021, we actually had net income of $24,400. Our budget for this year is more of an even budget, and we're looking for income of just over $1,000. The 24,000 of net income for this past year, the council approved transferring that money to the reserve facilities account. So that'll increase reserve facilities by 24,000. Reduce our checking account, because that's where the money is right now. This will help pay for the sewer pipe project, which is going to be about $35,000 to replace all those major sewer pipes from 70 years ago, 60 years ago.
Clay.
So by transferring this into the facility reserve account, the net cash from the reserve account will be around $11,000. So it won't have to take quite such a big hit.
Mhm.
And now, once this is done, it should last longer than any of us, hopefully. So, are there any questions about the budget or comments or concerns? Or
I'm sure it's well known, but I don't know, so where does Pastor Alicia's salary sit? So then, you know,
Okay, repeat the question.
Dorothy is asking, where does Pastor Alicia's salary show on the budget? She is part of the staff salaries. We've got the clergy. The budget for clergy is 101,500, and then staff salaries is 123,000. And that's included in that.
So it's just not an independent line, Diane? You don't have an independent line?
I have a separate schedule that shows everyone's salary, hourly pay it's a separate schedule. And I think it would be fair to say, if anyone's interested,
Mhm.
come up and take a look at it.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of trying to protect the staff from having the whole world know how much money.
Do we pay health insurance for Pastor Alicia?
Say, your question was again?
Do we pay health insurance for Pastor Alicia?
Do we pay health insurance for Pastor
No, we
Alicia?
do not.
Pastor Alicia has a 40-hour a week, full-time job, and her health insurance is covered by her current employer. In addition to the work she does for St. Mark's in the Spanish-speaking community.
Okay, wonderful. God bless her.
Yes, God bless her is right.
Yes.
This woman works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay. Any other questions? Other questions on the budget?
Got one back there.
Your question, please.
I just have one question, and maybe I misunderstood, but when we sold the tower, and did I understand correctly that they subletted or something like that, we would get a portion of that?
The question, thank you. The question was, if, when we sold the tower, if they subleased a set of that, any aspect of that tower to other users, that we would receive a significant portion of that rent. And according to the last report we had from Dick Bolin, because we had heard that they had sublet, but Dick Bolin contacted them and they said they had not leased any aspect of that tower out at this point.
Oh, I just wondered if in the future, you know, we might need someone.
That's a possibility, yes. And Dick is following with those folks. He's developed a relationship with them. And you know how good he is at doing that.
And looking out for us.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, God bless Dick Bolin.
But that's really a good question, because in a church, so often things kind of fall in a crack because we're all volunteers and it changes and then we forget. So anyway, thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody, questions from anyone online? Any other questions in the room?
Do we have the quorum for today?
We have,
But we're not.
we don't need a quorum for today because we're not doing a vote.
Okay,
We only need a quorum for the annual meeting. This is simply a conversation and to make sure everyone has their questions answered before the vote next week.
wonderful.
But we do need a quorum next week of 35 between those in the sanctuary and those online on Zoom. Or we will not be able to conduct our business. So, no other questions, guys?
Do we anticipate Pastor Carla going full-time anytime soon?
All right, just a moment. I have another question. Thank you. And then we can do the applause for the amazing committee. Bob Petron asked, do we have any anticipation of Pastor Carla going full-time anytime soon?
By choice, no, so I can be kind and loving.
Uh,
I want a point for now. So you guys are okay with me taking 2 days out a week?
Uh,
And that's good.
Okay, the answer was by choice, no. That it helps her be kind and loving, yes. That she needs 2 days a week to rejuvenate, recharge, and be ready to give to St. Mark's. So,
Okay,
That full-time clergy is 50 hours a week, and that's
yeah, a full-time clergy is considered a 50-hour-a-week job, as we can see from Pastor Alicia's schedule. But that is too much for Pastor Carla she knows herself well enough to know that if she worked 50 hours a week as a full-time pastor, that would be unkind to her family and unkind to St. Mark's.
okay, thank you. Family is important.
Family is important, and I love the fact she's modeling that. Okay, any other questions or concerns? Great question, Bob. Thank you for asking that. All right, now let's give the Budget Committee our applause and thank you for all the work they've done. And I want to thank all of you for believing in St. Mark's, for your continued and growing commitment to the work that we're doing and that God is doing here. And I have to tell you, I am the most amazed of anyone. When I think back 2 years ago where we were, and I'll share some of that information next week, some of the data in the annual meeting. I am astonished and absolutely glorify God for what he has done through each of you and through all of those who follow us online and who followed and continue to support St. Mark's with your prayers and with your financial support as well, and your hands to do things. So thank you very much.
And we thank you, Sherry, for all the work you've done. It's been an amazing last 2 years, has been truly amazing.
Yeah, I agree. It has been astonishing. So thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate it. Thank you all. Have a lovely day.